Hey there, everyone. I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Rochelle Peer talking about Humberto and checking out the Atlantic Basin and what we can expect maybe over the next couple of days. Tropical satellite right now. Here's Humberto. Starting to see more of that counterclockwise flow with the storm. Still not that well organized, but some good news along with this is that it has moved. The center of that storm has moved away from Abaco, Grand Bahama, and those other areas that were ravaged by Hurricane Dorian. So the sea surface temperatures around Humberto pretty good. This is what we like to see if we do want those storms to develop and become stronger or sustain their strength. Mid-80s, you only need the 80-degree mark Fahrenheit to sustain that tropical development. And something else Humberto is going to be moving into is a low shear environment. And when you have shear, that kind of tears the storm apart. We like those storms, if they want to develop, to be more upright. And if we get that shear, it kind of tilts it a little bit more, so it's not really getting all of that potential strengthening that it could if it were standing more upright. But with a low shear environment, we don't have that much of that issue. So here's the steering pattern for Humberto. Again, that storm north of the Bahamas. We have high pressure, that Bermuda high out in the Atlantic. That's going to weaken, and as that weakens, Humberto is going to slow down just a bit. It's only moving at about 5 to 10 miles per hour right now. However, as we do continue to watch that high weaken, it's not going to move too much, and then we're going to start to get a little bit more steering. A trough is moving through the northern United States, and that's going to help to kind of push that storm away, along with a cold front that is going to sag south. That's going to help to keep it away from the southeastern United States, though the southeastern coastline could be dealing with some rough surf issues. So here is the latest on Tropical Storm Humberto. Again, that storm moving at about 7 miles per hour, winds up to 60, gusts to 70, pressure now down to 1,000. We're expecting Humberto again to move into a favorable environment, potentially becoming a Category 2 storm by early Wednesday morning, becoming a hurricane by early on Monday morning. There's Bermuda out there in the ocean, and Humberto potentially keeping that Category 2 strength as it moves close to that area. So we could be talking about maybe direct impacts, but Bermuda in the cone, that center line not moving over there. But again, when we talk about the cone of uncertainty, that's where the center of the storm is going to be. But if we do see somewhat of this path for Humberto, we could be talking about impacts to Bermuda with a Category 2 storm. So we'll keep an eye on this. So comparing the models, GFS, the American model, in the yellow, European in the red. We're starting to see a little bit more agreement between these two models as we go through the next couple of days. Here we are Monday, 1 p.m. Definitely seeing some strengthening, the tightening of those lines. Those are isobars, lines of equal pressure that we're showing here. So when we see those tightening, more lines closer and densely packed together, that's a strengthening storm. And both of these models, though the location's a little bit different, both showing intensification of Humberto as it moves toward Bermuda. So we're continuing with that northeasterly track as we get to Wednesday. And there's Bermuda. We're seeing both models keeping the center of the storm just to the north of Bermuda, but we do again still have potential some impacts for that as we move toward the middle of the week. And then after Thursday, the storm kind of moves away from Bermuda and maybe even curving back off to the north and west. So we'll keep an eye on this through the rest of the week. Tropical satellite, we have two areas to watch, one in the Gulf of Mexico, one out in the Atlantic. The one toward the Gulf of Mexico has a 10% chance of developing within the next 2 and 5 days, and then a tropical wave has a 70% chance within the next 5 days of developing. So two things we're keeping an eye on for you this morning. We could have some more development because we are in that season. So again, Atlantic hurricane names, we have Humberto forecast to be a hurricane by early on Monday morning, if not late on Sunday night. Imelda, Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo are the next 4 names. And we're in that season. So yesterday we were talking about 4 areas to watch. Today we have 2. We could have more developments as we move over the next couple of days. In September, typically the most active month, we see the highest percentages of named storms in September out of all of hurricane season, which goes until the end of November. So if you want to, you can connect with me. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, also on Instagram, posting social media updates on Humberto, the tropics, and weather in general through all of those platforms. And if you're joining us from the 13 News Now YouTube page, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell for any more updates on the tropics, weather forecasts, or news for Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina.